Welcome to the Gig Life Podcast. I'm your host, Stevie Taylor. My guest today, well, he's no stranger to the show. Hamish Stuart is back. Hamo's first appearance on the show was back in early 2020, and he was also part of the Stevie Gadd Spotlight episode panel. He's back to talk about what he's been up to in the last 5 years, including working with Jim Moginie, Rob Hirst, Jade MacRae, Don Walker, and a bunch of others. Always fun hanging with Hamo, so I hope you dig it. This is episode 155. Hamish Stuart returns. Here we go. I think we're rolling. Hamish Stuart. Here we go again.
Here we go again. Great. Nice to have you back in the hood.
Back
Stevie.
in the hood, yeah. So we've had lunch.
Yeah.
Last time we were here, you were on that weird detox.
I was.
Yep. And I was just telling you, I was listening back to that yesterday, and you weren't bubbly and
I
jumping
wasn't
around.
bubbly. Oh, that's
just
terrible.
needed the coffee, and it was like 10 o'clock at night. But
yeah. No, I was missing it all. But now I'm full of it. Coffee and gluten and you name it.
So do you still do that once a year? That because back then so that was just shy of 5 years ago, just over 5 years ago.
Wow, amazing!
And it wasn't long after that everything turned to shit.
Well, No, we sort of we haven't done it. Actually, we haven't done it like that since then, where we really took everything out of our diet and alcohol and everything, and it and we're much better for it.
Right. So you and I shared a mutual experience last year by going to the James Taylor concert.
Yeah.
And one thing we haven't really done since we caught up then was sort of talk about that experience. And for me, it was for at least a week afterwards, I was just staring up in the sky going, that's one of the most amazing concerts I've ever seen. So the things that the takeaways I took from that was just let's talk about the band then. So it was James Taylor singing and playing guitar, Jimmy Johnson on bass, Steve Gadd on drums, Dean Park on guitar, and then there was I don't know the names of the brass. I'm
trying to remember the names of the brass too. That's their regular guys, I think. I should know them.
Yeah. Anyway, apologies to them because they're listening, of course.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're subscribing.
Yeah, they're subscribing. Yeah. I think the most amazing thing for me was just their touch and their dynamics, and we did talk a little bit about how James is a little bit older now too, so his voice wasn't quite on, but when he warmed up, he was on fire. Yeah. And the mistake that I thought they made was have that break because they had an intermission.
They always have a break in the middle.
Yep.
As James says on the live album, they rehearse the break. They love the break.
Yeah, but he came back and he had to sort of rebuild his voice back up again. But what was your takeaway from?
Well, I think we did speak about it after the concert, but I was. It did strike me that his voice sounded different to what I was used to, and I've been a really, a long time fan since the 70s, since I was a kid. In fact, I think one of the first gigs I played at school when I was very young, and I don't even know that when I say gigs, it wasn't really a gig. I think I was probably playing on Suitcases with a friend of mine in front of some parents. But it was a James Taylor song. So, I was a young boy when his music struck me, his melodies and his lyrics, and probably, obviously as a young boy, I didn't really understand a lot of what he was singing about. But I've been interested in him for a long time and seen him quite a few times live. And so this last time, he was definitely a different sounding James Taylor. But once I realised that everything was going to be okay, it was magnificent. And I noticed songs were slower.
Oh,
you know,
right.
they played things slower and really focused on the lyric, and gave James enough time to get it all out, and you know, in a beautiful way. But yeah, different. It was different, but magnificent. And I'm the same. Like all those songs have, pretty much all those songs have special meaning for me, because as those records came out, was parts of my life that I can almost go, this song fits in here, right. and was a huge help to me, you know, at a certain time, or a song called Money Machine, which is a very sort of funky song about the business of making money, and that's just a funny song, you know, like, and it's very groovy song, and horn section and great lyrics, and it's sort of fun to kind of dance around the house to, you know, when you're doing the cleaning. But then there's other songs that have been very poignant in my life where he's kind of, you know, in a way sort of shown me a way to continue. Well, not continue, that sounds all very dramatic, but, you know, get through whatever you're going through. Yeah.
It was cool how they sort of brought back Carole King, right?
Yeah. And was it Joni Mitchell?
No, Joni Mitchell. Yeah,
Joni,
sorry.
They brought Joni on a backing tape,
yeah.
which was pretty kind of weird. But,
yeah.
But like, okay, all right.
But it worked.
Yeah,
I think we were trying to work out where it came from, like who was in charge of the playback there.
Yeah,
I remember I was looking around going, how did they do
all
this?
on a click, or you know, what's going on? Yeah, it was interesting, but there she was. Oh, you could hear her beautiful Joni tones. You know?
Yeah. And so that's probably, and I think he even said it to us to everybody as well, that probably be the last time we see him.
Yeah,
see him here, because you were saying earlier before we hit record, their cycles are sort of a 5-6 year.
Yeah, apparently so. I you know, that's what I heard this time, that this would be his last tour down under. So yeah, I'm glad we were there.
Yeah,
really glad.
Awesome. Now, before that, the last time I saw you was at the Jade MacRae gig at the Starfish Club, Cliff Valley Bowling Club, and I think this was January, February 2024, I think it was, and you know, Jade was back in town doing some stuff. Did that gig, and I interviewed Jade, and you came in and dropped a terrible dad joke.
A bad joke.
Yeah, it was terrible, man.
Bad dad joke.
Yeah. But what I had quite a profound experience at that gig. I remember once the gig, I mean, the place was packed, and and I was sitting right up the back on that stage sort of thing, and with the high tables and high chairs and whatever they were, watching that gig. So there was Jade, I think 3 singers, Joy, Karen Lee Andrews, and Beck Jensen. Yeah. So yourself playing drums, Jonathan Swart playing bass. Yep. Now, I couldn't remember, driving here, I'm trying to remember if it was 2 keyboard players, so Dave MacRae and Clayton.
And Clayton, more than likely. Yeah,
and then the three brass guys.
Yeah, so it was James Greening, I'm assuming, and Matt Keegan. I'm trying to remember the third one. It's terrible, isn't it? Anyway.
Don't get caught up on the names.
I won't get caught
up. So that's a lot of frequency, a lot of people with their own sort of idea of time, and so much dynamics going on. But the one thing, the profound moment for me, was how you, Hamish, just held it all together, held the whole band together. And as great as, you know, Jade writes some amazing songs, and all those performances were great. I'm sitting there thinking, well, this could take off in a minute because there's so much going on. The two keyboard players and the brass and Ben Rogers playing guitar.
Yeah.
Ben playing guitar. This could sort of, take off out of control at any time, but it's just almost like you had a command of that whole band, and it was quite profound. And I just remember I watched you. I sat up the back, and then I actually went around the side because Bill Risby was cruising around with his camera.
Oh, yeah.
And he'd pop up in different places, so I sort of went up behind him and was watching him. But, I remember driving home from that going, man, I don't think I've seen a drum experience like that where someone sort of held a band together like that. There's no question in that, by the way. I just had to share that experience for me of that gig. And another thing I was thinking too is, while I was sitting up the back, is if someone had ever asked me, what if you had some students, or what would you suggest that they go and watch? And if I knew you were doing 2 or 3 nights at that gig, I would say go and watch Hamish Stuart in the Jade MacRae band, and you'd take away so much from that. So anyway, I had to say that.
It's been incredibly kind of you. I mean, I think a big part of that also, is that everyone in that band has kind of played together in some shape or form. Clayton and I have worked a lot together. Dave MacRae, Jade's dad, we've worked quite a bit together. All the horn players I've worked with. Jonathan, of course, as a rhythm section partner, is one of the most important sort of relationships in my life. Like, we've been together for a very long time. We've done lots of things. So I don't even think, we've discussed it. I hardly even think about him because it just feels so good, feels so natural. And so I think, in a situation like that, I take your compliments, very kind of you, but it is like an incredible group experience. And I think we're all helping each other, maintain some kind of reason in there, up there on stage.
Yep.
And it's great. And I love, and Jade's very strong too. Like, it's interesting, the recorded tempos or whatever. I write all the tempos down, and I get a bit of a reference when we start sometimes. But often she'll turn around and go, it needs to be faster or it needs to be slower. And I guess in my experience over quite a few years, it's like, it's your gig, I'm playing the drums, I'm going where you want it. I'm not going to go, well, no, this is how it is, or, I'm not that guy. I'm trying to make it feel good for everyone, Yeah.
So just on the Starfish Club then, so that's something that you and Jonathan do.
And Jane, Jonathan's wife, go on.
Yeah, so how long has that sort of thing been going on? How did it come about?
Well, it's quite a long story, but I'll try and keep it to a dull raw. It's been going for about 28 years, I believe. We have had a couple of breaks in that time, but we started in Bondi, at the Bondi Surf Club that's in the middle of Bondi Beach, right beside the Bondi Pavilion. And there was a guy, the caretaker there, Rick, who's since passed away, amazing guy, beautiful guy, with an incredible passion for jazz. Got had a conversation with Jonathan and Jane one morning, I think, and said, it'd be great to have a regular night of jazz in the surf club upstairs. And so we started back then. We had a house band. It was Jonathan, myself, Tim Rollinson on guitar, and Mike Bartolome on piano. And we used to do it every Monday. And the sort of preface was that Jonathan and I were working with all sorts of different people, artists, and we thought, wouldn't it be nice if we did something and we could ask them to come and play at this little gig, Wendy Matthews or Vince Jones. We had all sorts of different people and that we were working with, and also give them the opportunity to not have to play their hits to, the Enmore Theatre or big venues. And that maybe they wanted to, they might like to sing some songs that actually turn them on in the beginning or whatever. It wasn't so much of a professional thing, it was much more relaxed. And they all came along, pretty much, all of them. They came and played, and some of them just did their normal shtick because that's what they do. They found it easier, or they didn't have time to kind of learn new songs. And then the other one was, so it was every Monday. So we had to come up with something every Monday, which was very difficult. And I don't know how we did it, And so when we wound up, we moved, for a number of reasons, we moved from that venue. We were there for about a year or something. We moved around a few venues. And then we took a break, and then a very good friend of ours suggested the Clovelly Bowling Club. And it's been fantastic there. I mean, they are great people at the Clovelly Bowling Club. And it's a great room, and we have a great relationship now with them, and it's become a thing. And we do it just once a month now, which makes it a lot easier to program.
More manageable.
Yeah. And we can sort of spot things in the distance as well, like if Jade's coming back, or we've got people coming in the next few months. So we've got, okay, great. We can offer them if they'd like to do it. Yeah.
So you guys do that? You do all the...
Yeah, we book it. Jonathan seems to do the majority of it, which is great. And he'll suggest people and then go ahead and get in touch with them, and which is fantastic. But it's always a round table thing. I know he's always chatting to Jane about it, and then we usually have a phone conversation, or we're at a gig, often we're at a gig, and he'll say, "Oh, I'm thinking about these people." Oh, great, fantastic. So it's been strangely successful.
Right.
I've almost lost that thing of every time we did it, it'd be like, gee, I wonder if anyone's going to show up. We sort of set up
they do though.
tables and chairs, and you kind of wonder, are they going to come? Yeah, but they seem to, which is great.
And is it usually the same crowd? You get most of the same crowd?
Well,
is it locals? Or
I think it's locals. I mean, I used to live over there in Bronte, so it was very much a community thing. We were trying to get. It's a bit like what I'm trying to do here now in Manly, a little gig I'm doing, but you just think there's got to be some like-minded people around here that want to come and hear some music. And I think to answer your question, for once, it is a bunch of pretty much similar people that come along most months. Every now and then we remember when we're giving away the wine, we do a raffle in the middle of the two sets. We remember to sort of say, have you been before, and hands up and blah, blah, blah. But usually you see the same faces, but often there's some new ones along as well.
Yeah, very good. So that new gig you're talking about, that's the listening station?
Yeah, the listening station.
Yeah,
I'm glad you asked me about that, Stevie.
Hamish, tell us about the listening station.
Well, that's a little a fantastic little art gallery, independently run, in Brookvale, and on the Northern Beaches. It's about 15 minutes from where I live by car. And it's a beautiful gallery, and it's run by a wonderful girl, Frankie. And Emily, my partner, and I went to a book launch, book reading thing there some months ago, and I walked in and I thought, oh, this is it. It's small, probably holds about 35 people seated. A very small little...
Did you go clap
I
the
did
room?
the full
you did?
clap. I did, yeah.
There's no slap there?
Yeah, this is good. Drums are going there. Yeah, exactly. And so I approached Frankie and said, look, I'm some weird old muso. Can we do something? And she was right into it. So now we do the third Tuesday of every month. And it's usually a trio. We did Jonathan came on the first one, which was really great, and Bill Risby. And we just play one set, and there's a discussion before where Frankie asks us a question or two, and it's interesting. I was saying the other night that if I had been able to come and see professional musicians as a youngster, as a 15-year-old, if I'd been a 15-year-old schoolboy and could go and see John Poche or Alan Turnbull or whoever they are in a small room and be able to go, oh, how come your snare drum sounds like that or something?
It's like a clinic every month somehow.
Amazing. But of course we haven't sort of opened that up to that point, but we're just talking about creativity, and we're trying to get people that are like-minded to come along. And we had a good group last time. So we've done it 3 times and we're almost covering our costs.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I'm paying, we're organising to pay the musicians that come, and although some of them haven't been paid yet. Bill and Vienna. But yeah, no, it's coming. Check's in the mail.
Have you got the next one booked?
I haven't got the next one booked. The last, I can tell you about the last one. The last one was Tuesday night, so where are we now? It's Thursday, so just give me a minute. Give me a minute. I'll just get on the phone. No, the last one was Ben Daly, a beautiful young guitar player, man, extraordinary guitar player, and Phil Stack, double bassist or electric bass, all basses. He has all basses covered, from Thirsty Merc to Emma Pask. So he's just an incredible musician. And Ben, and we basically arrive and decide what we're going to play maybe 5 minutes before we're introduced. And so it's very, there's a bit of, do you know that one? Oh, I don't know, what key is it? What's the bridge? What chord does the bridge start on? There's all, which is great.
It is great, yeah.
Yeah, and, if I was a kid in the audience, I was a musician, I'd be like, what are you talking about just before you start playing? Okay, all right, this is what we're talking about. Be great.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. So, before Christmas, I bought a new vinyl record, and it was Jim Moginie's.
Oh, Jim,
new album.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Everything's going to work out fine.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be fine. Or not.
So you've done that album, and you've done a bit of a tour for that album. Yeah. And it's just been the duo, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, explain how that sort of came about first, and then I'll ask my question. I've got a question about the duo side of things.
Okay. All right. Well, it was COVID. We were, Jim has a beautiful recording studio called Oceanic in Brookvale. He was doing these things on Instagram, these little solo guitar things. So he was putting them up every couple of days. He'd do a live recording. And I'm over here like 20 minutes away from his studio, listening to these things going, oh, man, this cymbal right here would just sound so great with that. And so I texted him, and he said, oh, come on over, So we did some stuff. We did some, like, free improvisation to start with. And then I'd go over, every week, a couple of days or something, and he said, oh, I got some songs, So we started playing these songs, just the two of us, and recording them. And then because he's such a kind of mad professor, he'd go, he'd either get a bass player to play on them, like Nick Seymour played on one of these things on the Crowded House, and other people. Well, Adam Ventura played on all of it actually, or that record.
The record, yep.
But and then Jim would he'd just pick up a keyboard off the ground and put it on his lap and hit a few buttons on the desk and record these parts, and then sort of put it on the ground and then pick up a guitar and hit a few more. I mean, it's quite extraordinary.
Genius, right?
Yeah, he's genius. Don't tell him that. But no, he's amazing. And also in that period we were doing some things, sort of pretty much at the end of COVID, we're doing things with Robbie Hirst as well. He was getting me to play drums, which was an incredible sort of honour and slightly nerve-wracking, but beautiful, you know, and great songs. But yeah, so that album came about. We made it pretty much the two of us, and then added everything to it. Yeah, so that, you know, that was that record.
Is the touring cycle for that done? Is he still going to do some more? Or
I think he gets an odd gig, or he thinks, oh, this would be nice, we might do it there. Well, the last one we did was at I think it's the railway station, they call it, at Thirroul, which is this beautiful little room that doesn't do it doesn't service the train station, but actually my drums are set up with a window behind me, and the train, like the actual platform, is behind the window, you know, so the train goes past.
Do you try and catch the
Yeah, I've got to be a bit careful of that. And Jim's looking over it, so this is not...
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Hamish.
Yeah. Stay with us, pal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was Thirroul. But we did a bunch of gigs, a night in Melbourne, a night in Canberra, and around the place. And Byron Bay, and a few different... Well, I think we did about 5 gigs or something, 4 gigs. So if other ones become available, we'll probably do them. But yeah, the duet thing's great. I love it. Yeah.
So my question on that was, are you just confined to playing drums and percussion?
Yeah. You don't want me to play piano or sing. You know.
You've got a piano over there. Do you play it?
The whirly, that's there to kind of... if I'm tinkering around with stuff, but I can't actually play Onward Christian Soldiers on it. Although I will learn that one day.
Yeah, that's cool. Now you mentioned playing with Rob Hirst. So people that don't know Rob Hirst is people don't know who Jim Moginie is either. Jim and Rob Hirst are both Midnight Oil.
Yeah.
Now, as a drummer myself, I'm going to ask the drummer, Hamish, what it's like to play in a band with the drummer from Midnight Oil. So, how's that relationship as a drummer on drummer? So, is he particular on how he wants you to play the music?
He's very... Well, let's talk about recording, because, I mean, I played for Rob live a long, long time ago. He put out a record, and the band was called the Ghost Riders, and he'd written all the songs and was singing out front, and he got me to play drums. I can't remember how many years ago, but it's a long time ago. And, I mean... it was daunting, you know, because you think, it's this guy, you know, if you listen to those Oils tunes, you know, I mean, the rhythm section is absolutely, it is incredible.
It's intense.
And Rob's, it's intense. And Rob's playing is just, it's absolutely, I think, unique. He's got a real swing about his feel, which I just love. You know, it's a natural, everything's got a slight swing to it, which is just great. I mean, there's obviously things that don't, but you know, when he's playing his home bass is kind of this beautiful feel, you know, and solid. It's a monster. You know, he's a monster. So that was all a bit weird, but great, a great honour, and we became very good friends. And then in this last few years, at the end of COVID, when the Red Continent is the EP. And there's a couple of songs. One he wrote for Bones, the bass player who passed away, that he'd worked with for a very long time in Midnight Oil, and another song he wrote for his dad, who passed away. And I remember saying to Rob, like, you know, don't you want to play drums on there? You know, isn't it? And he was like, oh, no, I'm over that. You know, no, I don't want to do that. You play the drums. I just want to sing. And I respect that. But at the same time, it's like, you know, you kind of can't help but think, is this
about
good?
To look over the shoulder and,
like,
all right, hold up, Hamish, and he wheels in the water tank.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly, yeah, exactly. Or an ambulance, one of the two.
Yeah.
But, you know, he to answer your question again, as I keep raving on and straying from the question, he would only, when we're sort of at an impasse on a track, we're trying to think of the beat for the chorus or something, and he'll go, what about, you know, boom, 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 you know, and I'll go, oh, okay, you're great, you know, but it's not kind of do this or do that. He's more worried about the chords and the harmony.
Yeah, right, okay.
He kind of leaves me to my own devices.
Yep.
Unless I play a triplet fill or something and he rolls his eyes and you can tell that he doesn't like that, you know. You know, don't be smarty pants, you know.
Yeah.
And not that I'm a smarty pants, but, you know. Yeah.
So we'll go into a little bit more detail about, I mean, but you also play with Don Walker, right?
Yeah,
so before I go into the whole Don Walker thing, something else I was thinking about as I was driving here was, okay, so you play with Rob Hirst, Jim Moginie. So Rob Hirst has got his music.
Yeah.
Jim Moginie's got his music.
Yeah.
Then you're playing with Don Walker. For those who don't know, Don Walker is Cold Chisel.
Yeah. Main songwriter for Cold Chisel.
Yeah, yeah.
Piano player. Gentleman.
Yeah. So my thinking goes to, so Jim and Rob, they're in the Midnight Oil environment and they're trying to come up with songs for Midnight Oil, right? And does Jim present a song that's obviously not agreed on by the band, that gets put in the back for the solo album?
Yeah, maybe.
Same thing with Don Walker. You can actually hear, and I could hear it in the Don Walker stuff particularly. I mean, you can certainly hear a Don Walker Cold Chisel song.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And yeah, the other one too, Rob Hirst. You know, is he trying to bring songs to the Midnight Oil machine? And then the guys go, no, you just get back on your drums, mate. You can go solo one day, you know. It's just interesting how, big bands like that, how these musicians, now that those bands aren't sort of happening too much, they're doing the solo stuff and where that solo music comes from.
Well, I think, definitely all of them, Rob, Jim and Don, they've been major songwriters in those big groups, you know, Don in particular. Well, but all of them. Rob has credited on a lot of Oil's hits, and same with Jim. So they're sorted in that way. That, you know, I'm sure everyone brings songs to the group that the rest of the group go, oh, not getting a vibe on it, or, you know. But so then, on their kind of side projects, because that's the other thing too, is that, I mean, Jim in particular, he's just doing 5 things at once. I sort of almost worry about him, you know, like he's just doing, you know, he's written a book, he's doing book tours, he's doing gigs, he's doing this, he's playing with these people, he's playing with those people, he's producing a record we just played on this week, he's in the studio today. Just full on, like
all the time?
All the time.
Okay.
I mean, he's got a place in Ireland, and I think he had like a month there at the end of last year. He does some gardening and kind of looks out the window, but that when he's here or other places in the world, he's just going at it full tilt. And so my point being that, you know, that they're all involved in these big groups and whatever. But just because that's not happening doesn't mean that they're not happening. Like they're artists and they're constantly working at their craft, you know, which is great. And I know that Rob's the same. Like I feel that there's a couple more songs that I'm going to get a text saying, hey, when you're free next week, you want to go in the studio, you know. And Don, he's just putting the finishing touches on a new studio record.
Did you play on the new studio record?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, that's an absolute joy. His it's just great. We've been, the band's been, I've been in the band for over 10 years now, I think, and I'm not the new guy anymore, but I was for quite a while. And it's just such great hang and great people. The band's a great band. We love playing and hanging out. We do a lot of hanging out when we're working. We go down to Melbourne and record and have dinners at night and then do some gigs. And Don's a great guy. Oh, well, they all are. I'm lucky. I'm surrounded by, good people.
So how did you get onto the Don Walker gig? How did that relationship?
He just I don't know. He got in touch with me somehow. The drummer before, I think, was Steve Hope's a magnificent Sydney drummer. Had been working with them for quite a while, and then he wanted to bail out and do some other things. And I think Don somehow thought of me, and it was a great fit. So he just called me up, and I was like, "Are you kidding? Can't wait. When do we start? When do you want to rehearse?"
Yeah. So the latest album that he's brought out is a live album.
Yeah, it's
Live Lightning.
Live Lightning. Yeah.
Yep. Do you know how come I know that?
I don't know.
Because I just quickly looked it up on my phone. So don't think
that's good, because I probably get the title wrong.
Because you were just talking away there, and I've gone down and picked up my phone, and I'm thinking I'll look up and see what he's thinking about me. Like, am I checking my Facebook or something?
Yeah.
No.
Right. Sending a text.
No, I'm purely. I've got a phone in one hand, I've got an iPad and an Apple Pencil in the other hand.
You should see this
making
guy.
Notes and
It's like so professional.
And I was saying earlier too, you should see the rig I brought in here.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Just for you, because everyone else just gets the iPhone speaker, and you got the stickers.
I got the stickers. I can't see.
So they'll go. Yeah, that's
we'll
awesome.
Get a photo.
Hang on, I'll take that now.
Take that now.
So that live album, Live Lightning. How long was that recorded over? Because that's a live recording of you.
We did again. It was a Melbourne week or 10 days, and we we go down. I think we rehearsed some new tunes. And then we did 3 nights. We did like Mimo and St Kilda and somewhere else. And all 3 gigs were recorded. And then we had, at the end of that 3 gigs, we had 2 days in the studio where we recorded some of the new tunes for this record that I think is coming. The studio record, but then they had 3 live recordings of us playing, and then Don just picked the eyes out of that for the live record. Yeah, it's very, very, no smoke and mirrors. It's very, real.
It's very in your face. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was listening.
Warts and all, as they say.
Oh yeah. No question.
Yeah.
The reason I asked where that was recorded, did I even ask that?
I don't think you
I'm
did.
asking you that now, and you've already answered it. But to me, when I was listening to it driving out here, it's certainly the songs sound like they should be hitting the regionals.
Yeah. Anywhere would be good. Like
right.
We all.
But he doesn't fly. Don doesn't fly, though, does he?
Oh yeah, he'll fly. He'll fly, but he loves driving.
Oh, I heard
He's
a story.
He's got a new car.
I heard a story.
He wouldn't let me drive
it. He won't let you drive it?
He wouldn't let me drive it. I was quite offended. Don, I'm offended. Yeah, no. But he loves to drive. He's happy to potter about the countryside on the way to places. He likes that. But he'll fly, yeah.
So the songs from that live album then, have they been recorded in a studio previously?
Yeah, some of them have, I'm sure.
They have.
Do you want me to check? No.
That's all right. I'll check.
Yeah, you check.
Yeah. Like I said, last time we hung out and did the one-on-one podcast, because the other one we did after this was we did a Steve Gadd
Spotlight.
That's
right. That was
with,
great.
With Gordo and Lance and Darren, wasn't it? Yeah, Darren Frugia, yeah. It was just, we recorded that one-on-one. It was 1 month before the first lockdown, right? And I don't want to get into all that lockdown sort of stuff.
Palaver.
But yeah, we've talked about it. I'm interested into how long it took to get back the gigs, and are we back?
Are we
back? That's it.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, it was funny because when there was this big kind of Sydney's open for business, and it's going to be music and drinking and partying in the streets, and that all lasted about 10 minutes. I think everyone got excited, and then they all went back to work, and everyone was a bit like, oh God, what's happening now? And the world was, a little bit different. But I sort of feel that for me, things are back, pretty much. It's taken quite a while for me to get back,
personally, physically?
Personally and physically, because there's a couple of years there where we had a enforced break, which I think in some ways was fabulous, really great, and in other ways, there's a kind of level that you have because you're playing all the time, so there's just a sort of you can count on a certain amount of stuff happening normally.
Yep.
And then I just found
muscle memory,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yep.
But I found I'd be just my bass drum, I'd hit, there'd be some random beat would happen. The left hand.
I know the fa-bomb. The fa-bomb.
Yeah. But it was like, can you actually find a stroke that is outside every subdivision that you've ever come across? I would find it, and it would just shock me. And then I'd look up the rest of the band. They go like, "What is that?" Is that you've been working on that?
Yeah. I tell you who I've been listening to, mate.
Yeah, it's just this sort of random thing that would happen. Oh, terrible. And then, I realised that 2 years of walking down the coals and whatever, it doesn't really help your bass drum playing.
Right.
So again, if I was doing full-on sort of rock fields or whatever with Don or Robbie or whatever, I'd get a pain in my thigh, Or I'd be on stage, I actually start to cramp up on my right leg. And now what happens,
Yeah, because you've got, I mentioned muscle memory before, but, you've, as drummers, we rely on our legs, and our legs are strong, and we don't use them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And walk to the fridge.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. The right arm's strong.
Yeah.
Right arm, beer to the mouth,
Yeah.
What was it just the playing, getting back to playing, that got you back up to speed again, or did you actively work on your technique?
I did a bit of sort of pad practice. I must say, I've kind of, I need to do a block of practice. I've been saying this for a while. I need to sort of sit down. Haven't quite worked out whether I used to be able to get away with it just doing it on a pad, but I sort of feel like maybe I need somewhere to go and set the drums up and just sit in there for 3 hours and every couple of days or every day, whatever. I haven't got that time. That's I've got a million excuses, but yeah.
Yeah, I do remember seeing some videos on your Instagram of you practicing, or maybe it was M recording. Yeah, sitting out.
I did through COVID and all that. It was really nice actually, just to be able to sit on the balcony in the sunshine with a practice pad and a metronome and just flam away into oblivion, for as long as I felt like.
And where we are now, and it's a block of apartments, you can't set up acoustic drums, can you?
Well, yeah, I can't really. No, you're right, I can't. And I have done little sort of remote recordings here on Pro Tools and stuff, but very quiet, brushy sort of stuff. So I can't really do that. So I kind of need somewhere close by. I can go and make a racket in someone's garage or something. I'll find somewhere.
What other gigs you got going on?
What do we got coming up? Well, there's Starfish. We've got Barney McCall at the next Starfish, so that's April Starfish, first Monday of April. That'll be incredible. And just Trio, which is Jonathan and Barney and myself. Barney McCall, incredible piano player. We've had a long history of playing together until he moved to New York. And then he was there for a number of years, quite a number of years, and then came back. And
Doing what? What was he doing?
he was playing. He's Gary Bart's musical director. And Gary is one of the. There's not many of them left now. The alumni who played with Miles Davis. Yeah, and so alto player, incredible. And Barney worked with all sorts of people over there, and then came home to Melbourne, where he's from originally, with his wife and kids. So we don't get to play with him so much, and it'll be a thrill to play as a trio, because we used to play a real lot together, Barney, Jonathan, myself, back in the day. So yeah, so that'll be fun. What else we got? I'm playing with my brother in the Blue Mountains on Saturday night. Blackheath, somewhere in Blackheath.
Yep.
Just some little gig, which will be great.
Yeah, I was listening to, like I said, the first podcast that we did together just the other day, yesterday before. And then, yeah, it was nice to hear you mention your brother then, because you do talk a fair bit about him in that podcast about, how influential he was, and how you'd used to walk past his room, and he'd drag you in to listen to this, man. You're and, sit down. And then also the disappointment your father had that he ended up with two musicians.
Yes, that's right.
You better be bloody good at it or something.
That's right. You better be good at it.
You better be good at it, yeah.
But, so John, it'd be great to play with him. We always have a good time. And, I've been in the studio all last week with Jim and a fabulous Irish artist, Declan O'Rourke, who is worth checking out.
Is he a singer?
Yeah, singer, songwriter, beautiful. I mean, what I was saying to some people last night over dinner, I'm in the studio with the headphones on. We're playing live, and his singing is coming through the headphones, and I've almost got to remember to play, because I'm just going, my God, this is just like this is just for me, it's just beautiful. He's incredible and great lyricist, and great, lovely person, and we just had a great time, So that's. That was last week, so that's not much chop. There's just gigs coming up, I guess. I'm not sure where they are. I could have a look, but
no, that's all good. That's
stuff around the place.
Stuff around the place, yeah, that's good. Do you get a chance to go out and just check out bands and gigs and stuff?
It's funny that you should mention that, because I was talking to a couple of people the other day. I do have these. Desire, I have the desire to go out and hear everyone, go out and hear, because it's so inspiring to hear all the other rhythm sections and just players in general. But if I've just come through a period of pretty much 3 weeks of solid, different repertoires and, travel, just interstate, but, I'm kind of worn out. So if I get, tonight I've got off, and we've already decided what we're going to cook for dinner. Em and I, would just be here.
Yeah, I heard. I was here.
Yeah.
I was here when you worked it out.
You were here for lunch.
And I was here for lunch too. It was awesome.
But yeah, so it's, I, as I said to you, I got sent home. I was in the studio on Monday and Tuesday, and I got sent home on Monday because my back, I just packed it in. And it was a bit like, okay, because I don't stop until something stops me, and it stopped me. My back was just clearly going, well, if you're not going to sit down, I'm going to make you sit down.
Right.
So, and it's fine now. And I was back in the studio on Tuesday, so that was good. But Yeah, I do physically. I need a bit of a break. I think I'm not as young as I used to be, although that's how I think of myself in my head.
So when you have the break, and because you mentioned to me when I first got in here that your back was sore, and it gets to a point where it goes down your leg, and so is it always just rest and then it comes good, or are you starting to think of some sort of maintenance? Because I mean, I'm a little bit younger than you are, but I'm feeling all those effects of playing as much as I have, and my job, and my shoulders, my back, and also playing football, and it's not it's long past the stage of doing exercise to make you look good or anything.
Oh yeah.
So I run now. Yeah. So I run
at
least 10, 15 Ks a week, and that's the best thing I've ever done for my back. I'm not saying hey go for a run.
I used to run. I used to love it.
Yeah. But yes, for you, is it a case of trying to find things to maintain, or is it just rest?
Well, certainly, luckily, so far, touch wood, when my back does play up, if I'm sort of searching for that next night when I'm not working, I go to bed early, have a good sleep.
Yep.
And normally, when I wake up in the morning, it's okay. It's a bit like, okay, that's what you needed, good boy.
Okay.
But also, for the last few years, I've been doing a lot of Pilates, which I love, and my partner put me onto that. And there were periods in the last few years where we were doing 5 classes a week, like 2 yogas and 3 Pilates. I don't know where I found the time to do that, but I was doing it. And of course, lately, in the last 4 months, I haven't been doing any classes. So I think, okay.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, maintenance is definitely a thing. I think I need to keep that up. But as I was saying, luckily when it breaks down, a bit of rest usually gets me back.
What about your hands?
Everything seems to be fine.
Yep.
I'm sort of surprised. That seems to be all okay. Occasionally I get a bit crampy. I get cramps in my legs or whatever. I take a whole lot of magnesium.
Yep.
I take tons of that. I bathe in it.
You bathe in it? Yeah. Any young cats around town that you've been keeping an eye on?
There's so many.
There so many.
They're just everywhere.
Yeah.
Do
you feel intimidated by them, or are you inspired by them?
Yeah, but there's certainly their vocabulary. I mean, you can't help the guys and girls, that are out there playing, that are younger than I. I am constantly knocked out by their level of vocab on the drums, and their ability to enhance the other musicians, and the decisions that they make musically is extraordinary to me. And I think, was there a manual that I didn't get?
Decisions in regards to deciding to play a big sort of chop into something, or do you mean like decisions in a type of musical phrase, or
I think
like knowing where to put that lick, that chop?
Or to leave it out,
Okay.
I mean, I think there's a great sort of youthful exuberance of being able to play what you're practicing and what have you. And so there's that, which is always, that kind of level of excitement about what they're doing or what we're doing in the beginning is fantastic. But then there seems to be a maturity that they have accessed long before their years in some ways, there's and across different genres of music too, and I'm constantly sort of blown away by their ability and their dedication to their art form. It's great. And there's lots of them. And intimidated, sure. You see someone execute a beautiful single stroke roll, and you just go, I need to go home and work on that.
Can go two ways, eh?
Yeah,
I've got to go home and work on that, or fuck this. I'm done.
Yeah, it's over.
Over to the over to the piano.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll start on the piano. No one will notice. Yeah. No, there are lots of young players out there that are great, and of course, all the older ones too. See all your old friends playing. They sound great. I think the level of experience now that everybody's had, and still learning. We're all still learning. I'm still learning so much every time. Every time I play, quite often it's like I wish I hadn't have played that. Next time I won't. No, but it's true. You have these great things that, just recurring stuff. With Don in particular is a classic. I don't think you need to do that there. And I go, curses. I wish I hadn't have done it,
Do you reckon he would say stuff like that to Steve Presswood?
Well, that's a whole other relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know how, from what I've heard, it was pretty feisty back in those days. You might be,
you get a cymbal chucked
at your head. You get a right cross,
Yes.
Yeah, I think, the more we hang out together and the more they tell stories about those days, it's pretty rough and ready, I wouldn't have said that to Steve.
Right.
But I did see many years ago they did a warm-up show. I don't know if I mentioned this on the last one. Chisel did a warm-up show at the Clovelly Bowling Club before they went out on the roads about 3 tours ago, and Steve was still alive. And to that day, that's one of the best gigs I've ever. I just could not believe, the level. I mean, the songs are great, and just this sort of. The rhythm section was ridiculous. Phil Small and Steve together were just incredible. And Mossy was. I was working with Ian at the time. I did about 4 years with him in his trio, and I remember saying to him, "Look, I'll see you at the airport next Friday or something." And I don't want to go on about it now, but that was outrageous. Is that the level you guys perform at all the time? And actually, last time I saw them, which was out at Homebush recently.
Yep.
And Charlie Drayton, who's taken over the drum chair, who's, again, just an incredible musician and lovely chap. That was, it was like a perfect, from beginning to end, you'll see a gig and you go, that was really, those songs, I love that bit there, but it was kind of like the whole show was amazing. Yeah. So, yeah. But, Steve, what a great drummer. Great, like the parts that he came up with as well. Like those, if you listen to the records, incredible.
Yep. I just had Andy Bickers on the podcast.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that. I'm
have
a
listen to it.
Yeah, I love Andy. What a sweet guy.
Few Chisel stories in there and Charlie Drayton stories and Steve Presswood stories. He talks about just the tone he gets from that snare drum. He's never heard that repeated anywhere. Yeah. Just the sound he got out of his drums. And
incredible. Yeah.
So finally, who are you? It's not finally. It's not finally at all.
Oh dear.
For this time round.
Yeah.
Until part 3.
Yeah.
Who are you listening to? Like in your earbuds and your earphones?
Yeah. Okay.
For inspiration, or are you? Is it the same stuff you go back to, or are you finding new stuff?
Well, it's funny because it kind of is really. Apart from listening to material that I have to play.
Yep.
So if I'm writing charts for things, that takes up quite a lot of my head space. But I've been listening to quite a bit of Elvin Jones again. I can't get away from that guy. He just love it. So into it, all the Coltrane things and Elvin's solo records. And also, apart from that, Jack DeJohnette, this stuff just floats around my life. But I've got the phone on shuffle, so I get anything from, Anthony Braxton to Bonnie Raitt, just beautiful music, different rhythm sections, and I'm trying to be more specific, but I can't really. I'm just thinking about the things that I've listened to recently, and it's been a whole bunch of Elvin and just shuffle on their iPhone in the car. And people give me CDs and stuff, and I go, great, I'll play it on the way home. And then I realise I don't have a CD player in the car anymore.
Yeah, I had that realisation the other day. Since I sold my last car and bought my new car, that was the last CD player we had in our whole house.
Yeah, no, I don't have one.
And it had a 6-stacker in it, so you know.
Great. I tell you, the record you've got to check out is the Carl Dewhurst record.
Okay.
And I'll just you keep talking for a second. I'll just get the title.
Hi, it's Stevie Taylor. This podcast was brought to you by Hamish's Music Collection. Featured today, Carl Dewhurst. Did you bring that to me to show me because you can't pronounce it?
Yeah. I thought you could have a go at it.
Okay.
Carl's going to kill me.
Avicii?
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, that's cool. So you set me up then.
I do without knowing it. I've set myself up too. And Alex Hislop's playing drums on it, and Cameron Undy on bass, Lisa Perrott on alto, and Carl Dewhurst on guitar. And it's the most beautiful record, and the rhythm section is outrageous. It's well worth a listen. That is some contemporary music right there.
Carl Dewhurst, Avicii. All right, Hamo, thanks again, man.
Is that enough?
Is that enough? Well, you tell me. Have you got something else for me? Or?
No, you want to buy a watch?
Yeah.
No, that's great. Thanks for coming over.
Too easy, man.
That's so great. Great to see you.
Yep.
As always.
Nice one. Cheers, Hamo.
All right, buddy.
Catch you, bro. Bye.